All right, so we are here in the city of Huachuca, Arizona, on the side of Route 90. And this is my fourth day in Arizona and my first trip actually. And so I was here giving as part of a panel discussion over 2 days on being able to present my research on human capital finance and really looking into the gamification of natural life as part of that financial apparatus and understanding the full spectrum domination that is intended for this next phase of globalization that happens within a gamification apparatus, and that the game of life that they are setting up in a digitally twinned universe is happening within a militarized construct. And so I read a memoir actually of this gentleman. His name is Nelson Peary, and he was a mentor to a number of people that I admire greatly in the organizing space. And he was actually stationed here during World War II. He was a soldier, and it was formative to his experience. And so I wanted to come and see this space. And the more I learned about it, my background is in cultural landscape. And so I feel like it's really important in this moment as we're sort of crossing this threshold into this fourth industrial revolution, or we're being pushed, into this fourth industrial revolution without full informed consent, that we look to the history so that it informs our understanding of power dynamics and the direction that we're going, right? And that's always been part of my analysis, is the power analysis, and understanding that the smart cities, the Agenda 21, the UN 2030 agenda, the faux sustainability on impact data metrics for global capital that legitimizes totalitarian surveillance of all of life on the planet, that is grounded in a long trajectory around erasure of and conquest of existing peoples, including the original people of Turtle Island. And one of the longest domestic military engagements was actually here in the southwest in Arizona, in the southern part of Arizona, where the Apache were engaged for over 30 years with the US military systems in struggling to maintain their way of life on their land and their cultural practice. And so now, as we are sort of being pushed in a way that this new system of global economic domination is moving from industrial, skills-based global capital into this new version of virtualized global capital in a military space, I thought it was really important to come here and sort of surface this landscape. And really foundationally understanding that this moment is a moment of healing, and what is needed is collective healing of all of the trauma that we've been born into. Now, this base here, Fort Huachuca, which we're not going to film because it was founded as part of this installation to oppose the Apaches in that military engagement for 30 years. But it stayed its presence and is currently a center of electronic warfare and signals intelligence. And they have a museum that one can normally access in non-COVID times. It has an ENIAC computer, right? And I've often said that what we're up against is like the artificial intelligence as a settler colonizer. And that this is what we need to take on artificial intelligence, and that it has to come from a place of love and a place of healing, and that this is the work of all of us, but particularly mothers, like this global peace movement against AI. But to do this, we have to actually acknowledge this past trauma and surface this in the landscape. So that's why we're here today, to surface this. And we didn't really know. Part of this whole journey is you walk out, like you have a feeling of what needs to be done. And I felt on this trip I needed to come here, but I didn't know exactly what to be done here, right? And we were not looking to be provocative. Again, we're here from a place of love and peace to tell this story, to try to interrogate this story and make it relevant to what's happening today, right? To make relevant the economic dispossession and of the economic and land-based dispossession of indigenous people, of what happened to Cochise and the 1,000 people who were in the Dragoon Mountains and Geronimo, to the Agenda 21 program, and that the smart cities are extensions of this reservation system that is founded in cultural erasure and targeting families, using economic weaponry to target families and to target children, right? The boarding school system, which we understand in British Columbia, right? The deaths of those hundreds of those indigenous children, that we are on this brink now of looking at that same structure of domination being weaponized at a much wider scale, but it comes from a place, and one of the places it comes from is this place, right? So we came here today, and we actually, earlier, we were visiting these caverns, these natural caverns north of us, and they were part of this larger, very intentional conservation programs to preserve these natural caves. And a central feature is these caves are alive, and they are water-based systems. And we're in a drought right now, so there's these questions about the ecosystems and the water and the integration and how humans take care of these beautiful environments that are both living in minerals and water systems, and where the time differential is so different. I mean, this is where stalactites and stalagmites and these calcite structures happen over tens of thousands of years. When you are in a cave, the sense of time is completely different, right? The hundreds of years from the late 1880s, when this base was here, when they were fighting the Apache on these lands, blink of an eye compared to a cave, right? And so now everything is speeding up. Things are going faster and faster. It's like we have to adapt. We have to join with AI so we can fit in this cyborg world. And I'm saying we need to pause. We need to pause, and we need to reconnect with the natural system. We need to connect with that. And within that cave, they talked about features, that some features were alive. They were alive with the water. And some were dormant because their water source had been cut off. And some were dead. Right? And so this continuum of life, we can use these lessons of nature and the natural world to apply them to our own social constructs. Where are we in this moment? Who is alive enough to see this structure and understand it within its proper context? Who are the people who are dormant, who simply need an access point to understand from a place of love that what the story was, and that we need to walk through this story to a better future, doing this hard work, doing the hard work of bringing healing to all of us. And then who are the people who are not going to be able to come? There will be some that maybe just aren't going to be able to come, and that is our work. That is our work of those of us who are alive to find the dormant people, to awaken that light, to bring the water, into these systems, and to bring the water that is not polluted with anger or sadness or pain, but to try to bring the water as best we can, knowing it's very hard in these stressful times, with as much love and care as possible to nurture that, right? And so we came to this park. We're on the side of this highway, right? This dusty little municipal park, because we're looking for a space to have this conversation. And we came out and we wanted to acknowledge with tobacco and sage and cleanse and acknowledge this natural connection, because we are being pushed into an electronic, digital, militarized simulation. And what we most need is to connect with our history and to connect with the natural world, to reconnect, to anchor our life force into the natural world. So we came, and there are these little trees, and I don't know these trees. It looks like it's a legume. There's sort of a compound leaf here, and obviously it's adapted to this environment that is now in terrible drought, but it's hanging on. Oh, mesquite. So this is mesquite, but then there's this other drapey plant that's collaborating. And so, like, what are the lessons? That's what Robin Wall Kimmerer always said. What are the lessons to learn from the plant beings, right? What she says is that human beings should be humble because we don't know what we're doing. We should be careful with our nanotechnology and our neuroweapons, right? We need to learn from the old beings. And these are the old beings. And I guess today what I'm learning is that this very craggy bark here. And in this craggy bark, which are the cracks, maybe these are the cracks of trauma or age or cragginess or experience, that there are seeds that blow in. And with the proper water, with the proper light, they can grow into this complement, right? They can go into a structure where different beings can bring their gifts into the space. So I will say, when we also came, and I wanted to sort of connect to this tree, right? To say gratitude to this, because that we need to come at this from a place of gratitude. My friend Chaz, she says that you need to bring that into the space. And so I walked around the tree because we came from the far side, and on this side you can see this tree is burned. This tree is carbon on this one side. Some trauma has happened here. And there's a nail, there's a thick metal nail in this tree. This tree has seen struggle. This tree has seen, and yet it still lives. It lives in complement with other beings. And so we poured water. We poured water, we lay down tobacco, and we said gratitude. And I sang my little song, forget your perfect offering. Just ring the bells that you can ring. There is a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in, right? And those cracks, maybe these cracks are the seeds, whether the seeds of these plants to get in to provide structure for a new base of life that is attuned to the environmental changes that are beyond our control, beyond these systems. So we brought water into this droughted place, and we said thank you to the natural, to nature that we are connected to. And so many of you know I've referenced before that John Trudell is a deep influence on me. And just to mention that his work in the poetry space, he speaks of the inspiration for his work coming from, now he has since passed, but that it came from his wife who died in a house fire with their children, his pregnant wife, Tina, who was an activist around water rights in Idaho and a caretaker of the elders and of children and a keeper of culture. And that he would often say that she gave him the lines, of the poetry, and that this work that he did, that he brought to the world, was their collective work. And it was coming from a place of care and community. So I just want to read, I brought a couple of dandelions and gifts. Again, I've mentioned before that I have asked people for dandelions from all over, and dandelions being a common man's plant. It's the gold of every being. It is on all the continents except Antarctica. It blows the seeds. Even when in struggle, the wind will blow its seeds everywhere. It gets in the cracks, right? And it has the sun and the moon and the stars. And it digs deep and it brings minerals and richness to the surface. And it's nourishing and it's medicinal in that it cleanses the liver and it cleanses of anger. So we have been using these to bring an energetic presence to these places of troubled histories, to try to acknowledge that. And so I brought a few dandelions. People have gifted them to me, and I know in this moment where people don't feel like they have much agency and they are not sure how to participate in the future that is unfolding, that one small thing that we can do is to participate in this gift economy. And the gifts are the dandelions, and then the gifts I bring to these places in community with others. So today I have dandelions, and I would like to read a few lines. This is Lines from a Mind, the words of John Trudell, and I got this at Louise Erdrich's bookstore in Minneapolis. It came to me. I think I was meant to have this book. I did not know of John Trudell when I bought it. And this is an area of mining in Arizona, silver mining, right? And he speaks of mining the predator energy, mining the being part of human, mining the human. And this was an area of cattle rustling, right, of across the US and Mexico borders, and that we are, as these peoplenaires in these human capital finance, they see the masses of humanity not as beings of beauty, water beings, energetic beings with gifts to shower on the world in reciprocity and connection with the natural world, but simply as resources to be managed for the profit and ego of those who are in powerful places. And this happens all the way around the world. So I have the dandelions. I would like to read 2 poems from this book, and then we'll leave the dandelions here for the US signals intelligence and electronic warfare. So this one is called Children of the Earth by John Trudell, I'm sure inspired by Tina Manning Trudell. Children of the Earth. Here, I'm gonna put this down for a minute. We are all children of the earth. Kids, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers. We are all children of the earth. The earth is our mother. Mother Earth is for all of us. We must all be kind to our mother. Take care of her and love her. Mother Earth has many children. All living things are her children. The plants, animals, birds, fish, insects, reptiles, and the people. The human beings have responsibilities to take care of the natural living world. The mother takes care of us, provides all we have, and if we do not care for her, she cannot care for us. The human beings have thoughts and can act on these thoughts. How the human being thinks affects all the living things. I'll say that again. How the human beings think affects all the living things. Human beings are caretakers to take care of Mother Earth, to protect her with good thought. We are all children of the earth. We are all children of the earth. The earth is our mother. At the end of our tour, we talked to the wonderful guide who had a background in environmental science and who cares about the cave. You can tell he cares deeply about the water. And we talked to him about nanotechnology in the atmosphere and geoengineering and what that means for the complex microorganisms that live in the cave and the bats that live in the cave. And he spoke of the academics and the institutions that were looking at technologies and data, and we were trying to remind him, and I think he was mindful of the power structures and the militarization of these systems that we all have to think about when we take care of our mother. And he will say things like, well, things are so wrecked, how can we take care of anything? We should just keep on with our technologies, which in some ways keeps wrecking things even more, to engineer the solution, to think that man is above nature, that can engineer the answers. So I will just read this second poem, which is Crazy Horse. Crazy horse, we hear what you say. One earth, one mother. One does not sell the earth. The people walk upon. We are the land. How do we sell our mothers? How do we sell the stars? How do we sell the air? Think geoengineering. Crazy horse, we hear what you say. Too many people standing their ground. Standing the wrong ground. Predators face. He possessed a race. Possession, a war that doesn't end. Children of God feed on children of the earth. Days people don't care for people. These days are the hardest. Material fields, material harvest, decoration on chain that binds. Mirror, gold, the people lose their minds. Crazy horse, we hear what you say. One earth, one mother. One does not sell the earth the people walk upon. We are the land. And so I have this dandelion. I'm going to leave one dandelion with the tree, and I'll take one over to the fence line. But when we talk about gold, and we talk about being responsible, and we talk about solutions and chains, I've taken a lot of heat lately to make a strong stand against blockchain technologies. That they're not a technology of liberation, but they're a technology of the military. And that's not our tool. And that's not a tool we should be using to take care of our mother, the earth. And that's not a tool we should be used to take care of children by putting babies on blockchain, trees on blockchain, the oceans on blockchain, water on blockchain. That is not a way of being a good relative. And so I will stand here today in gratitude for the fellowship that I have had these past several days, for the open hearts and open minds across the political spectrum to know this history and to know its application to our moment, and to know that we are powerful beings. We are water beings, we are energy beings, and we are beings in which we can use our love against IT, against the military. We stand for peace, and we stand for the earth. I transmute you, Fort Huachuca. I transmute you for your centuries of harm to the original people, to the black soldiers that were sent here to fight you, to the environment which was made toxic by your activity here, for the planes and the weapon systems that kill our atmosphere, that will kill our underground caverns. We are for life. We believe in life, and we believe we are powerful when we stand with natures. We are the keepers of life. We are the keepers of life.